So every week I find news articles in the real estate industry that are misleading. And I often think that they're designed just to get clickbait, to get your attention. But today, I think it's really a lot worse than that. I think Zillow must really think you're stupid with the research they put out this week. Let's get into that. But before we do, let's make sure we're updated on where the market is so we can see where things are headed. As always, I say there's two factors that affect in an economy the supply and demand in an economic system. The demand would be the buyers driven by interest rates, and the supply would be sellers by inventory. Let's take a look at first the demand side, which is mortgage rates. Mortgage rates today tipped above 7%. I'm sorry, on Friday, 7.02% is where they closed. This week they went a little bit above. This week was like a holiday week on Friday, kind of. Monday will be a holiday week, kind of. Tuesday's a holiday. And what we see a pattern is before holidays, rates go up a little bit because the mortgage market gets a little more conservative, but we're still basically in the range of 6 to 7% that we've been all year long. We should watch the rates come Monday and then Wednesday, more importantly, to see if it's a breakout and rates are going up. But for sure, we know that rates have been in a bandwidth where there are plenty of buyers interested in buying property given the current market conditions. Now, that's the buyer's side, which is the interest rates. How about the seller's side? Well, similarly there, the market has continued to be pretty steady, that the inventory now is tied at record levels ever. If you look at the numbers here, we have this year's current inventory homes are about the same as 2 years ago, 2021, which is the lowest all time, and well below the pre-pandemic. In fact, about half of the historic amount of inventory that should be on the market at a time. As long as inventory is low, there can't be a housing market crash. The only reason why there's a crash is more sellers want to sell houses than the buyers, so you have to cut the prices. That's clearly not happening today. Now, how about the market here locally in Los Angeles? Because those are national numbers. And again, we've been about a 44 using Altos Research's qualitative number in the market. We've been here for a few months now. They analyze the key factors in the market: median list price, price per square foot, which is a key one, I think. And you'll see the amount of dollars you pay for a square foot of house has stayed steadily and slightly increased over the course of the year. So all those factors point to the market being pretty steady and pretty solid where we're at right now. Now, going forward, there's a couple news articles I think they're very misleading. The first, and one of the things that I find is that companies that charge you for the news are no better than those that don't. Case in point is Real Estate News. Let's take a look at their article this week. This is their contribution to bad industry news. Home buyers are going to need a pep talk, and here's why. Now, the premise here is that the market is such that home buyers are scared to buy houses, and some need a positive encouragement of some sort to buy houses. But this is just totally stupid. And then they say nearly a fifth of all adults still plan to buy a home in the next 12 months. Well, let's go through the numbers. In America, we have about 331 million people, about 75%, 280 million are adults. We only sell about 6 million houses a year, meaning at best, 1 in 45 people can buy a house per year. And yet a fifth plan to buy a home. A fifth of the adults would be about 70 million. So 70 million people plan to buy a house, but only 6 million will buy a house, will be successful getting one. And what that means is that they're buyers who just they're not yet fully prepared and need to be pushed forward, not a pep talk motivation-wise. They already want to buy a house according to this survey. They're just not going to be successful because they're not telling the truth. The truth is the market is still more competitive than you would think. If you want to buy a house, you got to step up and be aggressive. So Real Estate News, lousy article, first example of the week. Second example, bad article, Realtor.com. I'm a realtor. Disappointing to see. Realtor.com starts with their article. As home prices fall slightly, maybe adjust is the better word. Fall sounds like you jumped off a building. Adjust just means of the 40% run up, we give back 2 or 3%. As home prices fall, a new housing problem reared its head. What's the problem? The problem is limited inventory. And they go through different reasons why there's limited inventory. Rates are solid and people want to buy houses, but there's, quote, not enough homes for buyers to buy. Well, that's not true. There's homes for buyers to buy. If they want to pay more than the other guy, they'll get the house. And the problem is the news is not encouraging them to realize it's a competitive market, and they'll probably in the long run make a good decision if they buy a home they can afford. But this is the nonsense people are being fed. Third nonsense article this week is Redfin. I don't know why you would badmouth where some of your buyers want to go, but Redfin wrote an article that could have said Phoenix is the top destination for relocating home buyers. Wow, Phoenix is the top destination. I didn't know that. I'm on real estate. I might have thought it was Florida. I might have thought it was Vegas. I might have thought it was a lot of places. It turns out it's Phoenix. Why? Does Redfin explain why? Do they ask people? No. They call, the first two words are drought-stricken Phoenix. As if what? Phoenix is just a big hellhole of dry dirt? No. They'll figure out somehow to get water. Maybe they'll steal it from California, buy it from us. Maybe they'll use desalinization. I don't know. But people are moving there. People want to move there. Businesses are moving there. Intel's expanding there. Tesla's moving there. All kinds of companies are moving big operations into Phoenix. I don't know why. Personally, for me, it's a little bit hot, but whatever. People love it. It's affordable. But rather than ask why, they call Phoenix drought-stricken. I don't know. That seems a little harsh, the way to describe a whole city, in my opinion. What do you think? Next, we have a lot of articles here this week. Next, on the articles are misleading, I think worthless. From the National Association of Realtors, of which I'm a member, we're all the single ladies in real estate market. And here's this lady, Lee Davenport. I imagine she's single. She appears to be a lady. Dr. Lee Davenport. I'd like to know what she's a doctor of. I'm sure she's not an MD. And so she basically writes in articles, the premise being that women are somehow being shortchanged in the marketplace. The women have been discriminated against. Now, she does mention that there were laws that were overturned in 1970. I'm sorry, that's not right, 74, that prohibited women from owning property. That's 50-something years ago. But then she has these statistics. Now, she's a doctor. I even know what she does. I shouldn't make fun of her, but look at her statistics. This is just nonsense. She says 7% of women can't afford homes, but 6% of men can't afford homes, as if that's discrimination. And who knows this is a survey, Go Banking Rates 2023 survey. I don't know, is it a good survey? Was it done correctly? Then it says 10% of women don't want to buy a house and 8% of men don't want to buy a house. So does that mean women are discriminated against, or they want to buy houses? Maybe they want to buy houses they can't afford. Maybe they don't want to buy houses they have to sell too soon and lose money on. That doesn't really look like discrimination to me when you really break in the data. And so what I think you find a lot of these articles are just whining, complaining, and there's no data. They throw some numbers in to mislead you into thinking that there's something there. And the worst of the week, and I realize I'm trading into difficult waters, is Zillow, who just must think everybody's stupid, wants to pander. This was during Pride Month, the last day of Pride Month. Legal protections come at a cost for LGBTQIA plus home shoppers. That's their quote. I'm going to shorten it to LGBT because you'll know what I mean when I say that. So they want you to believe that life is so bad for people, this group of people, that they're being discriminated against. Now, let me just say, nobody wants to discriminate against them buying housing. Nobody. Now, what does that mean and how does laws go about? We can have, well-intentioned people can have a debate over how to protect people, make them feel comfortable. Nobody wants to discriminate against them that I'm aware of. But they want to make it sound like they are. They want the reader to be riled up. And so the premise of this is homes and areas with laws in place to protect LGBTQIA plus buyers come at a premium, forcing them to choose between affordability and protection. For example, they're going to tell you that Hawaii has great protections. Now, setting aside the federal government protections, they're going to tell you that Hawaii has protections more than the average state, but that housing there costs 180% more than the average house in America, meaning the average house there costs $834,000. I guess the average house in America costs about $300,000, and so you're going to pay an extra $536,000 to live in Hawaii. Hawaii, the Pacific Island paradise, Hawaii, where you can imagine it's expensive to build homes in Hawaii. We're getting lumber of a certain type and concrete and electrical. You can imagine shipping. If you've ever been to Hawaii, potato chips cost more in Hawaii. It's not because they're discriminating against potato chip eaters. It costs money to ship stuff to Hawaii because it's a Hawaiian, it's a Pacific paradise. Next on the list, California. So the average house in America costs about $300,000. In California, it costs about $440,000. So they want you to believe the reason why people's houses in California cost more than, say, in the middle of Iowa. And I'm not knocking Iowa. My family was in Iowa in 1880. I have a little Hawkeye blood in me. But then we believe the reason why houses cost more in California than Iowa is because of the LGBTQ protections. No, not at all. It's because it's California. We have the Pacific Ocean. We have the seventh largest economy in the world. We used to have a growing economy. That's why people moved here, was for the opportunity. Now it's changed in the last year or so, but historically that's been the case. But it's even worse, as not only is this nonsense to look at the price, but when you go into what they state, they want you to believe. What was this in here in the article? That people who are buying, LGBTQ people buying homes, were suffering more to get into a home. Here you go. They say that they worry more about getting into a home, 74% versus 64% of the term they use is cisgender. I think that's a derogatory term. Then they go on to tell you that almost all LGBTQ buyers report making a sacrifice to buy a home, skipping eating out or skipping on health services, compared to 78% of, again, they use the word cisgender. I don't like that word. Now, that's an interesting statistic. They're saying that only 22% of non-LGBTQ buyers skip meals or healthcare. Yet, in their own survey done just in May of this year, they report that of all successful buyers, 43% reduced money into entertainment. They reported, this is again Zillow, I didn't make this up. They reported 9% of everybody skipped healthcare services. So this is not unique to any group of people. I think the reason why, if I had to guess, living in California, living near West Hollywood, is for whatever reason, the LGBTQ community flocks to higher priced areas. I think they have more income than average. To adults without children more commonly, not to say they should. I'm not wading into politics, though. I'm just noticing the market saying they tend to live in West Hollywood and in other markets around the country, San Francisco, Miami. They're more expensive, but they're also nicer places to live because they can afford to live there. And if you can afford to live in a nicer place, why not? Let's not make it about other people holding people back. Let's help everybody be successful. But I don't know anybody in real estate in my 36 years that would ever consider discriminating against somebody for their religious preferences. I just don't think it exists. I think it's made up, and Zillow, I believe, is throwing gas on the fire to get attention from their buyer, from their readers, for no reason at all. I don't know any other reason why. So, what do you think? I think it's all nonsense. I'm disgusted with Zillow. I think they've gone from a data-centric company to just a bunch of an advertising platform that's pandering to the worst element in our society, flaming passions that don't need to be. Let's help people buy and sell property. Let's help people accumulate wealth and have better lives. Let's not worry about creating a division where it doesn't need to be there. So what should you do about buying or selling a house? As always, don't pay attention to the nonsense in the news. You do what's best for you. If it's a good time to buy a house, let's talk about it. Let's get a plan in place so you can be effective. You might have to skip some meals and change your budget to make it work. And you think of selling a house, let's get together and talk about what the house is worth when the plan is to get it sold. As always, I'm here to help you. My contact information below. If I can help in any way, and as always, make today your best day ever. Thanks.